Chamber of Mines, Chamber of Commerce, Trade and Industry. When she came to speak in the morning, she was representing 49 chambers around the country. Big boss, too many members, all of them profit makers. Proceed, Madam.
Thank you very much for that. Excellent presentation by the previous speaker. I think mine will be a concern of the proposal to take back the corporate income tax to 35% from 30%. It's a concern because the background of our proposal, and we're grateful that government actually managed to implement the reduction. The background of the proposal was basically looking at taxing an already heavily taxed private sector, and henceforth pushing our production costs up and making business operations very difficult, considering the fact that we are still obliged to other regulators and other regulations other than just the aspect of tax. So I thought maybe we could get a bit more clarity on your background just to appreciate where you're coming with that proposition, because for us, basically, we want to do away with it, and we're saying government should rather look at broadening their tax base rather than taxing us, the already existing compliant and suffocated private sector. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that submission. And before I answer that, I just want to say that, our submission was actually conducted in a very consultative manner. So we had a lot of different other CSOs that sort of contributed to this end output. So to begin, to answer your question, I want to mention the fact that first of all, pay as you earn is the biggest contributor to the government coffers compared to even corporate income tax. The burden of the tax system in Zambia is on individuals, people that are registered to pay for tax. And our background also is coming from when we look at some of the issues that are happening, for example, in the mining sector. We look at issues of illicit financial flows and tax evasion and all those issues that happen, and we begin to see that the burden is really on individuals, on payee, and we thought to say government is losing substantial revenue. Of course, it's true, you could argue that some businesses are heavily taxed, but for us we did look at it from who sort of would benefit the most from that corporate income tax. Obviously, you might find that it might be these mining conglomerates and all that. So for us, it's not really looking at especially small, medium enterprises and all those, but we're looking also at some of those big companies that might be not contributing their fair share of tax and then also getting that 5% reduction. So we thought it's very important that government increases it back to where it was and begin to collect more. But also I want to mention that we have, as I mentioned before, we have corporate income tax rates, different corporate income tax rates that corporations sort of qualify for. And they range from 0 up to, I think the highest is 40%. So it's very easy for these corporations to be able to sort of to evade tax. And it's also, it's also targeted at some small businesses that could sort of qualify for lower tax rates. For example, those in agriculture can benefit from, say, 10%. So our submission really wasn't to stifle the private sector. We know it's the backbone of our economy, but we also had to look at how much government is losing, and also we looked at some of these mining conglomerates that are already evading tax. Yeah.
The consideration should be stratified or differentiated, especially what you mentioned for the mining companies.
Madam, I think our audience online might want to benefit from your contribution. Maybe you can use this mic here.
Appreciate the clarity given to the issues that were raised, and the proposal still remains that perhaps then the consideration should be done perhaps in a stratified manner or indeed industry specific, that the companies such as the mines that he has mentioned could have that submission of the reversal of the corporate income tax, and it should remain there and not for the private sector per se. But thank you so much for the clarity. Appreciate it.
Right, you may take a seat, sir, with that advice from here. Oh, understand there's a hand where? Oh, yes, here.
Thank you, Moderator. Yeah, first, I would like to thank you for a very comprehensive submission. Secondly, I'd like to inform you that we are currently reviewing our double taxation agreement model for Zambia, and that would love to have more input from yourselves. We'll engage you further in the Tax Policy Review Committee, that maybe you can make a submission on which agreement probably you feel we should review with which country. From this session, we'll proceed to what we call a Tax Policy Review Committee. It's an intergovernmental tax review setup, which is formed annually. So we'd like you to come and shed more light on the aspect of the double taxation. Thank you.
Buy him some pure juice. Don't just clap. Thank you. So here we are. Our next on the schedule. Who is next on the schedule? What have we done? Okay. Oh dear. I'm trying to find my, okay. So we have Civil Society for Poverty Reduction. If you are ready with the presentation, please proceed. As I ask the Jesuit Center for Theological Reflection, and after that, Caritas to be ready as well. So Civil Society for Poverty Reduction. Introduce yourself, tell us about your membership, how many members are we talking about in terms of institutions, and then proceed with